What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Finance with Parks. In today's video, we are going to talk about why saving 15% for retirement is so important. We're going to talk about an article that discusses the state of retirement in the US right now, and saving rates are just abysmal. So we're going to talk about why it's so important and how you can actually execute that 15%. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We talk all things personal finance, and we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you could tap the like button and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. All right, we're going to start off here. Got some PowerPoint slides per usual, and just talk about why saving for retirement is important. The first is going to be that 401ks, which has become synonymous with retirement accounts, right? It has a tax benefit. It allows you to defer taxes, which means you don't have to pay tax on that money now while you're in a higher tax bracket while you're working. Now, you're going to have to pay taxes at the very end when you withdraw that money, but the thought is when you're done working, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. So that's kind of that's the tax benefit with retirement accounts. Now, the other thing that's great is it's a forced savings plan. If you're one of those people that's not a great saver, putting money into your retirement is one of those things that you can do it pre-paycheck where you won't even see that money, right? It comes straight out of your paycheck before it gets into your bank account. You put it in your retirement account. And the nice thing is too, especially when you're young, you need to take advantage of compound interest, but the compounding growth year over year your retirement account can see. If you put your money into the Vanguard Total Index Fund, over the last 15 years, that has averaged 9.5% returns. And that's even with bad years, right? That accounts for 2008. So 9.5%, if you had $100,000 in there, think about you're making 9.5% the first year. Then after that, the compounding, the 9.5 is calculated on your new total. So the 100,000 plus the 9.5% you made in year one. So over the long term, you can really see phenomenal growth if you start early and you get to take advantage of that time frame. All right, so that's number two. Number three, who likes their job enough to be working forever? It's kind of a sad question, right? But the article is talking about that's the state of a lot of people right now is unfortunately, they just don't have enough money saved up to never stop working. They need to have an income stream. And if they were to retire, their savings is not enough to live off of. The last one is, thinking beyond yourself, right? Your children can have a stable financial future. If you're able to save that money now, even if you aren't allowed, or even if you aren't able to use it all in retirement, right? That was kind of one of my thought processes at the beginning when we talked about saving for retirement was, well, I'm 27 years old now. I want to use that money like when I can spend it, right? I don't want to be 70 with all this money piled up and not be able to spend it anywhere. But if you think about it in a larger frame, right, I want my children or my grandchildren to have a stable financial future. And that's just as important to me than it is being able to spend the money right now. So that's kind of how I've changed my perspective. All right, so that's the why quickly. Let's talk about how we actually accomplish that, because I think that's super important, right? I think people just... there's the 401k word is thrown out there a lot, but I don't know how much of the actual understanding of how that function goes. So the way we accomplish 15% is there's two types of retirement accounts. There's a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. Now, the traditional one, the big difference is whether that money is being contributed to your retirement account pre-tax or post-tax. Now, if we jump down to the bullet 3 here, we'll skip back to the percentages, but a traditional IRA is pre-tax money, which means, this is just a very general example. If I make $100,000 a year and I contribute $10,000 to my traditional IRA, that $10,000 is going to be tax exempt essentially. So I'm going to only be paying taxes on $90,000. And then when I retire and withdraw that money, that's when it would be taxed after I turn 59 and a half. Now, Roth IRA is essentially the opposite. That is going to be post-tax money. So if I make $100,000 and I contribute $10,000 to my Roth IRA, my taxable income is still the $100,000. However, that money then grows tax-free because it's already been taxed essentially until you can withdraw it on the back end. So there are benefits to both ways. And now the reason that we're splitting the two to get to the 15% is it's kind of hedging our bets, right? As far as where we think the tax break is going to be most beneficial. So we do 10% into a traditional IRA and 5% into a Roth IRA. Now that's how I break it down. You can do the percentages however you'd like. If you'd like some more information, this video is not to compare an IRA and a Roth. So I'll link some helpful videos down below. But that's how we're splitting it to get to the 15%. They're both retirement accounts. They just have different tax terms, essentially. Now, I already mentioned this one, but both are invested into the Vanguard Total Index Fund, the VTI. And I can't say it enough, right? That fund has averaged 9.5% over the last 15 years. That accounts for really good years and it accounts for really bad years. But on average, 9.5% return year over year, which means your money is making you money just to sit there in that account. Then the last thing is just a highlight. I mentioned this too, but it can only be withdrawn without penalty after 59 and a half years old. So that's a struggle about retirement accounts, not gonna lie. To sit there at 27, right, and be putting money into something where you look down and you're like, I have to wait 32 years to get that money. It's a little bit painful, but it is forcing people. That's why the tax benefits are there, right? Because you can't get to it until 59 and a half, they've devised some sort of other incentive, right, that helps you invest in that. And like I said, it's just a forced savings account. So for those of you who, if you see money in your bank account, you spend it right away, think about upping your percentage or contribution because that's money you'll never see. And maybe that out of sight, out of mind will really help you save because it comes out of your money before it ever hits your bank account or comes out of your paycheck. All right. Now, on to the last slide here. How does this actually look in theory on like Fidelity, for example? So I just wanted to show this because I want to show you guys how to actually update it, right? I think a lot of people don't even know where to start as far as looking through their 401k. So this is an old screenshot from my prior contributions when I had 6%. But essentially, any of your retirement accounts, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Alight, those are companies that manage 401ks, at least in the private sector. I assume the function will be similar, right? But if on mine, if you go to this quick links right here, contribution amount is what we're looking for. And so now you can see it has all these percentages where I can pick what I want going into each in each section. You can see here, it's already kind of aligned. This shows you pre-tax, this shows you Roth, and then this is after tax, more so just like a general brokerage account or general account. So this would update to 10% now. This would update to 5%. I'd have 10 in my pre-tax, 5 in my Roth. And then I would meet that 15% threshold for investments. Now, on the last part here, switching over to that article I was referring to, here was the study done and kind of sparked this idea on November 4th about the median retirement savings by age. These numbers are pretty alarming. Americans in their 20s only have $16,000 saved for retirement. Keep in mind, this sum, when you get done working, right? In my mind, my retirement account needs to fund probably 30 years, right, of not working. If I retire at, let's say we retire at 55, and I'm going to live till 85. Now, living till 85 is pretty darn good, but let's just say for conservative sake, we need to prepare for 30 years. That is a long time to go without having an income. So you need a substantial amount of money saved. Think about how much you spend a year and then multiply that by 30, right? That can kind of give you a good idea of how much you need to have saved up. And now that spending may change in retirement, but it'll give you a conservative estimate. So now you look back at these numbers, 16K at 20, 45 at 30, all the way down to 172K at 60. If you look at this one right here, the median retirement for Americans in their 60s, which are at that retirement age, if you spend, let's say you spend 40 grand a year, which is pretty substantial, but it's not unheard of, you've got 4 years basically of a fund set away that you're gonna burn through at age 60. I mean, you can't really retire on that, right? You're gonna be out of money and broke before you really get even into like the later stages of your retirement. So this was just an eye-opening article to talk about, we need to focus more on those savings plans, and 401ks can really help you force that savings plan. They can help you return an investment on your money. You can invest it into things like the Vanguard Total Index Fund, have your money make money so that you don't have to work forever. All right, so that's all we had in today's video. If you enjoyed it, if you could smash that like button again and subscribe to the channel, we would greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, and remember, finance is fun. See ya.